In this video, we will be breaking down the different proven email strategies of 6 major and leading brands in the fashion and jewelry industry that are doing multi 7, 8, 9, and even 10 figures like Aritzia, House of CB, Princess Polly, Revolve, and more. There will also be 2 jewelry brands that will be covered. We will be covering their email campaign frequency, so how many times a week they are emailing their email list, the design psychology behind their emails and copy, the overall content structure, and finally, the common approach that they are all using in their emails to make more sales from their existing customers and turning email into a key revenue source. And as a bonus, we will be looking at how some of these brands are integrating their social media strategy into their emails. So, if you are a fashion brand founder or owner and are looking to turn your email marketing channel into a key revenue source by using the same approach as these multi 7, 8, 9, and 10 figure brands, then click the first link in the description to book a call with me so I can give you an audit of your current email situation. So, from a very simplistic perspective, these brands are essentially hooking their existing customers, which is found in their email list, with exclusive content that can't be found on their website or social media. That's the entire point of having this newsletter. It's exclusive. And then they're engaging them by using what we call the abstract email design approach, where every email is different from the next that you send out, and every block in your email as you scroll is also different from the next. And then they are converting them by driving all that traffic to their website. So let's begin by taking a look at what House of CB is doing in their email campaigns. If you didn't already know, it's a 9-figure women's fashion brand. They did over £250 million last year in total revenue. And when it comes to their associations, they're associated with things like super feminine silhouettes, the hourglass figure, Beyonce of their friend group. So these first 3 are something that the founder herself, Connor Walker, said they're pretty much known for. And every time they design a product or a collection, it always has to go back to these sort of 3 things. Also soft color palettes, some deep colors depending on the season, occasion wear, and affordable bridal wear as well. They were very well known for their bandage dresses in the early 2000s when they first were up and coming, and then they transitioned into cottagecore, milkmaid, and floral dresses. Again, so they were into the clubbing lifestyle before, and now it's more so the slow lifestyle. They've kind of adapted with the times. They've always been worn by celebrities. It's also associated with people who have a passion for dressing up, wholesome girl trips, and their dresses are instantly recognizable. Their overall brand art direction is super feminine, and this is a screenshot from their website. They occasionally change their website design depending on the collection that they release, and they release collections very frequently. And all of this leads to email campaigns like these, where their overall email aesthetic is super cinematic. They have a strong feminine art direction going on as well. And they make a good use of slow versus fast moving GIFs, depending on the collection, to create motion. For example, if you look at an email like this, where their iconic bandage dress returns, which was actually quite recent. And I think before I mentioned in the video that their bandage dress was initially introduced in the early 2000s. It was actually 2010s. So a campaign like this would have a very fast moving gift, whereas a campaign like this that's super feminine, they would intentionally make the gift super slow moving, or some of all the ones on the right of that one campaign. And then some other things also relating to the email aesthetic, they do not do traditional grid layouts. It's like how some brands do, where they have a cover and then it's just a grid every single time they send out an email. Instead, what these guys do is, as you can see, each email is different from the next, and they do not use templates. They do not have copy and paste emails, and that's why their customers love opening up their emails time and time again. They have a frequent use of close-ups, full body shots, and flat lays for visual variety. So an example full body shot would be something like this in a really nice background. Even if you can't get access to a really nice background, editing tools are out there to create a similar look. And when I say flat lays, it would be the product just laying flat, and you can then make use of white space and manipulate that and get very creative with that one image. And then they also have close-ups. So for a close-up, especially in something like an email, I'm pretty sure they would just zoom in to show the details that they really want to highlight for a certain product in the email. In terms of their email frequency, they are sending about 3 to 4 times a week, which is pretty much every other day. And this is something that they've tested out. I'm sure whether decreasing or increasing the frequency works better, and whatever the data is telling you, that's what you want to go with. Now, if your emails are good and they are offering a ton of value, usually sending more does convert much better than sending less. And in terms of their pop-up and how they're getting these people to actually sign up for their email list and growing that list so that they can eventually receive these emails that they obviously spend a lot of time and effort in designing, is all happening through either their footer or during checkout. So I noticed that they don't really have a email pop-up setup where brands would offer like 10% off to get the email ID of the traffic that they're driving to the site. And I think the reason why they're doing that and only limiting it to the footer and during checkout is because they are only trying to send email campaigns to people who are serious buyers, like potential serious buyers who are going to go to the bottom of their website themselves to get put on their list, or they abandon their cart and then they sign up for email during then, or they completed the purchase and they sign up for email during then. Now, if you're a fashion brand that isn't doing 9 figures a year, you need a pop-up and you cannot be as selective as House of CB, because you, as a brand that isn't doing these big numbers, your priority should be, when it comes to email, growing that email list with as many people as possible. And you can't really assume who is going to be a serious buyer and who isn't. And so always make sure that you have some sort of pop-up setup. Now let's take a look at their copywriting style. So these guys, they're very focused on selling an experience once the product is worn. Very rarely will you find in their email campaigns copy that they're talking about the benefits of the product. They rarely even show any testimonials. They do obviously have them. It's good to have testimonials. However, when you read the copy of these emails, it's more so about the experience that their customer will have once the product is worn. And the reason is, when it comes to fashion, buyers make the decision in a split second whether or not they're going to buy something. And so it's completely useless talking about the benefits of a product. It's really not much of a problem solution driven market. And the quantity of copy that you will see in their emails is usually 3 to 5 lines. And they will also have some copy overlaying their images at times. But overall, it's kept minimal. And again, it's focused on the experience, not the actual product. Now let's break down Princess Polly's email marketing strategy. So if you don't know what this brand is, before I go into their email strategy, I want to make a note that this is a fast fashion discounted brand. However, they do have a very strong brand presence, very strong brand visuals, and identity that leads to more loyal customers. They do around $146 million per year. And when it comes to their brand associations, they're associated with Gen Z fashion, trendy, fast-moving styles. So they're able to have operations in place that will move with the times quite fast. They're affordable, accessible price points, going out outfits, festival fits, pop culture, Y2K revival, and early 2000s nostalgia. That's been quite trending recently. Very bold fashion, confident. They like to have this hot girl energy and high volume of promos and sales. The brand art direction that Princess Polly has decided to go with is quite rebellious. So if you go on their website or to their social media, you will see that their emails have really good alignment with what is being shown on their website in terms of the aesthetic. So overall, it's consisting of bright, bold colors. You'll see a lot of red, neon, and white. They like to use oversized headlines and sale banners. Because this is a discounted brand, they need to have a discount banner on the top of the email rather than at the bottom, because that's their main selling point. So you will see these banners displayed in a variety of different creative ways instead of just having a boring background. So here they have it on the women's sunglasses. Here they will overlap it with the purse. And then they will also have very abstract banners as well. Sometimes it will take up more space and be part of the cover. Overall, their email flow is quite chaotic, as you have seen. They like to use bold fonts, quite youthful in the nature of the emails. Their emails look like digital flyers, and they make good use of FOMO because they are this discounted brand. They have a new sale going on every single time. Now let's talk about how many times are they actually emailing their list a week. So they are emailing 7 times a week. Basically, one new email campaign sent out every day of the week. While their email covers are different every single time, as you can see, they do have a layout that we can pinpoint and refer to. So they start off with a huge graphic at the top of the email. Then they would have clear categories or banners. And in this case, their banner is in the center of the email because the offer that otherwise would have been on the top of the email embedded in a banner is now embedded in the actual cover itself. And then they would end off the email with personalized picks. So this could be based on your bestsellers, what's been trending recently, so what's been viewed most recently, or items that the customer most recently viewed. So one of those 3 data feeds is where they would be pulling these images from. This like a dynamic product block, and that is the overall structure or layout to their emails. Now, what I do want to emphasize here is that even though they have a layout, that doesn't mean that they are sending out copy and paste templates. I think we can agree that just by looking at these emails, it takes a lot of creative talent to come up with designs that look different every single time and that actually catch the attention of a customer who probably has tens of thousands of brands competing for their attention in their email inbox. So, if you really want to win over a customer's attention in their email inbox nowadays, as more and more brands are getting on email marketing, these are the kind of designs that are winning right now. This is their subscription pop up. So they're collecting the first name and email ID as the input, and the offer that they have is 15% off for first time buyers. When it comes to their copywriting, they're very blunt and they're benefit first. So, what is the customer going to essentially get by clicking the email? And it's usually the offer that they have in place. They have heavy use of urgency phrases, and there is no emotional storytelling, straight to the point, because like I said, this is a fast fashion brand. But what really impresses me about their emails and why I included it in this video is how good they are with branding their emails and making sure that their brand is instantly recognizable from their creative direction. Moving along here, let's now cover Aritzia's email marketing strategy. So this is one of the more popular brands that will be covered in this video. They did around $2.74 billion in 1 year, and they have well over 110 stores in North America alone. I want to make a quick note before I get into this. So they intentionally pick a very minimal approach with their branding and their email design, and also what you see on their website and social media. But it is their copy in the emails that is among the most compelling in the industry. So that is where I will put some more emphasis. When it comes to their brand associations, they are known to provide their audience with elevated basics, everyday luxury, timelessness. You'll see a lot of their best sellers are just simple basics that at one point, when Aritzia was up and coming, their customer base had a very hard time finding in the market. They have that cool girl minimalism, emotional detachment in a high status way. So their model images, their models don't really show a lot of emotion, confidence without trying too hard, fashion that blends in but still stands out, allowing their customer to diversify their wardrobes while still being in their comfort zone. And they have that if you know energy. So when it comes to their brand art direction, it's what we call refined minimalism. So, based on their recent emails, you can tell that they like to go with minimalist layouts with intentional white space. And I don't want you to confuse that white space with something that they're being lazy with. It's very well planned. They have a relaxed model poses in all of their emails. Soft lighting is not chaotic. It's literally the complete opposite of what we saw Princess Polly doing, pretty much on the opposite end of the spectrum. They don't really use too many product grids, but when they do, it's still in a overall abstract email where each block is different from the next. They like to have free flowing editorial stacks. They like to do image led storytelling, and there is zero urgency, so no exclamations, very few discount banners. If they do have like a end of season sale going on, it will be like a banner that is at the end of the email. It's not in your face, and they do not have any flashy CTAs. So here is a preview of some of their emails again. So overall, when it comes to their design, one thing I want to point out is that even though they are positioning themselves as a luxury brand, they still make sure that they're not using any templates when it comes to their email designs. When you look at a traditional luxury brand like Christian Louboutin, they will tend to use template emails, and they're allowed to do that because they are such a high-end luxury brand. However, with Aritzia, they do not have those same average order value amounts as a brand like Christian Louboutin or Chanel. And so these guys do make an effort to make sure that they are using this abstract email design approach where each email is different from the next, and each block as you are scrolling through the email is also different from the next. In terms of their frequency, they are sending around 3 to 4 times a week, pretty much every other day. So now let's take a look at their email funnel. So what the customer has to do in order to get on the list to get these type of emails. So this is their pop-up. This is where they are collecting only the email address and not really the first name, last name, phone number. They really just care about the email address. And they aren't offering any discount. They are only collecting the email. It's not a pop-up that's super in their customer's face. It just slides out near the bottom left corner of their website, and they don't have any image on it, and it kind of aligns with their entire brand aesthetic of being minimal and elevated luxury. And finally, let's see what they are doing for their copywriting style, which I, in the beginning of this section, mentioned that it is one of the best copywriting in the industry right now. So, with their copy, it sounds more like a witty conversation, very non needy, and it's very lifestyle driven as well. So, they kind of write like they generally don't care if you buy their product or not. They will state that what they are offering is the best, and it will be very direct. For example, in this campaign over here, they wrote, "Our retailers know what you want, pants that barely feel like pants, enter these relaxed staples." So when writing their copy, they don't waste time in explaining why you would want something. They speak as if though you already want it and they're simply the ones delivering it. So they're essentially positioning themselves as the authority. And this enter part here, where they say, enter these relaxed staples, it's almost cinematic, where they're inviting the reader into a world of effortless dressing, and overall they're just not trying too hard to sell in their email. Here's another really good example. So this is on their glass form fabric from Italy. It's what they used in their athletic wear collection, and this is the subheading. And then for the actual copy, they wrote, "Body hugging feel, luxe sheen, that post-workout glow is actually just gloss form." And their CTA is just shop now. It's a tiny CTA. So here they're assuming the reader's desires of a post workout glow. So they're doing a really good job of combining their athletic wear product features with lifestyle driven details, such as that post workout glow, which they're assuming their reader wants. And the Italy part over here, it just works as like a subconscious credibility boost. It's there for that luxury association, but it's not a priority in their copy, and instead just a secondary detail to the feeling that they're actually selling. Another example, ideal for outdoor Pilates classes and anywhere else you want to be hot. So, like the last example, no over explaining, just a few precise words that assumes the reader will connect the dots of the feeling plus identity over just pure product function. I saved the best Aritzia copywriting example for last year before I move on to the next brand. So Aritzia ran a campaign with Adidas for ballet inspired shoes. And this copy right here stood out to me. It said, "Now available in black and Aritzia exclusive pink. Hope you saw this email early." And that last line is unique because it acknowledges customers might have read the email after the launch, maybe even a month later when the product could be sold out. And this makes the copy feel personal and relevant to everyone without needing heavy audience segmentation. Like they didn't need to find a way to segment it so that depending on when the audience saw this email, they would see this particular copy, and it just feels much more personal. The next brand that we will be looking at is Beautiful Earth. This is a jewelry brand, and while there is no publicly available data on how much revenue they are doing per year online, what we do know is that they have over 800,000 customers. And I just want to make a quick note on this brand. So they've received some criticism to selling products that are too similar to AliExpress products. However, they continue to excel because of incredible branding across their website, socials, and emails, great customer service, and reliable product delivery. And the reason why I picked this jewelry brand to show in this video is because of how great their email content is. They never seem to run out of ideas, and I really do think that every jewelry brand out there can draw inspiration from their emails, especially if you have a similar target audience to them. So let's talk a little bit about their brand associations. They like to sell unique, affordable jewelry that is nature inspired. They like to personalize it and also relate it to themes like zodiac, different coffee orders. We'll see that in a bit in their emails. Travel themes, whimsical, dreamy aesthetic, waterproof and tarnish free, giftable, sentimental, and it's a small brand with a global feel. In terms of their art direction, they have gone with a very whimsical approach, very dreamy and playful, and this is something you'll see across their website, socials, and emails. In terms of their email aesthetic, they like to go with a light, airy, dreamlike aesthetic, collage inspired layouts that aren't corporate. There is a bit of a chaotic visual flow, so you won't really see like a clean structure. They like to do these lifestyle pairing concepts, so they'll like to style jewelry with coffee orders, zodiac signs, travel destinations, and this kind of frames products as extensions of personality and daily rituals that they know their customers most likely are part of or identify with. So here are some examples of those emails. This is a coffee order based email where they paired jewelry with different popular coffee orders: iced latte, cappuccino, espresso. And what I found was really interesting was that for the CTA, it said "reveal my jewelry" instead of just pairing it in the email itself. So they actually have separate landing pages built out for the specific email. And then this would obviously drive up those click rates because they're sparking so much curiosity here. Here is a jewelry based on your next getaway, and they're pairing it with essentially different getaway locations, Bali, Paris, and these are very fun and entertaining emails to open. Here is the zodiac sign one. So they are pairing different pieces to the four signs, and again the CTA is reveal your pieces, which I found was a great CTA, and these are very entertaining emails that I'm sure their customers love opening, which is why they spend so much time and effort into designing these. And this requires a lot of creativity, right? Like to come up with these designs, the concept, the copy, there must be a really great return on investment, which is why they've been doing it for so long. Going along here, they also have pops of gold, basically the jewelry acting as the anchor throughout the visuals. So if you look at these emails, of course, they're including the jewelry along with images that they are pairing with the jewelry. And then they also have a section with clear hierarchy, large visuals, description, and then CTA. The CTA are obvious but non-intrusive, so it will say stuff like shop now, reveal your pieces, and this enforces the idea, like their entire concept of pairing jewelry with different coffee orders, zodiac signs, and whatnot. It reinforces the idea that there is a piece for everyone. Pretty much every jewelry brand out there likes to market their jewelry products by saying this, that there is a piece out there for everyone. But these guys really do demonstrate that with their different email concepts. And in terms of their pop-up, it is a mystery discount pop-up where they are asking them to basically put in their email ID, then they would reveal the discount, again adding more curiosity. And then for their copywriting style, it is very conversational. They have these relatable hooks at the top of their email, and personal, not technical, not benefits oriented. So all of these are like, this is a really good hook, like this is your sign, and discover the jewelry based on your next getaway. So it's personal. They are talking directly to their customer, and it's not really benefits oriented. It's more so pairing the jewelry with things they know their customers identify with. Another style of email that is worth mentioning that Beautiful Earth sends out, aside from their design heavy abstract emails, are these text only emails. And they usually only do this when they are extending a sale. If you run a sale and you're not, first of all, sending out 48-hour or 24-hour reminders, you're losing out on a lot of potential revenue. And another way to maximize the amount of revenue that you make from a sale is by extending it and say, due to popular demand, we are extending the sale for the next X hours. And to do that effectively, to send out a text only email. You don't want to overdo this. Obviously, if you are running a fashion or jewelry brand, you cannot have text only emails run your entire email marketing. It's a visual driven market. So these are the kinds of emails that drive results. But once in a while, text only emails can prove to be very effective. And so all you would have to do is make sure that, first of all, if you have their first name part of your data, always be sure to use that. Even if you don't, it's still fine. It will still work. When it comes to these CTAs, usually having just hyperlinks like this works, where they can just click and then go to whatever landing page you want them to go to. Bold whatever it is that you want to emphasize. Keep it short and sweet. And having a PS sentence at the very end also is helpful because it gives it that text only feel. This type of email feels very personal. Obviously, don't overdo it. Now let's look at what Hello Molly is doing for their email marketing. So they are doing around $100 million in revenue per year. And the note I want to make here before I go into their email strategy is that their email strategy is very effective for female Gen Z audience and their overall strategy, their overall marketing strategy, particularly when the brand has built strong community values around shared aesthetics, lifestyle, and values. So when it comes to their brand associations, very youthful, unapologetically girly, and trend-driven fashion is what they're essentially all about. Seasonal and event-based storytelling. So they like to pair dresses with a season, like how we looked at what Beautiful Earth was doing. Like if it's Leo season, they will send out an email on that, and they're very on top of the different seasons like that. Romanticized girlhood, nostalgia, and digital scrapbooking, social media savvy tone, especially TikTok and IG, a strong sense of personality and community, and affordable fashion. When it comes to their overall brand art direction, it is super girly. Now, when it comes to their email aesthetic, you will notice a lot of mixed media, scrapbook style layouts with Polaroid stickers and textures. So, a good example of that would be emails like these, where it looks like it's a scrapbook, almost like DIY, and Polaroid photos. They like the narrative first email, so each one is tied to a theme or a scene. For example, this one is the theme was polka dots and white, red. This wasn't necessarily on Valentine's Day, but it kind of looks like that. But it was just what was trending at the time. And then they also like visual hierarchies led by mood, not product. So when they are picking products, they want to kind of pick based on the aesthetic of the email and what would look good overall. Handwritten fonts and collage cutouts for DIY appeal, and their emails feel personal, curated, and extremely emotionally expressive. So here is a closer look at all of their emails. As you can see, these guys are doing anything but sending out template emails, which is why their email strategy is so successful. And I'm pretty sure they're generating multi millions from their email channel alone as part of their almost $100 million a month revenue. So they are sending out 7 times a week, so pretty much every day. And when it comes to their pop up form, their offer is 10% off. They're collecting name, email, and phone number for SMS marketing as well. And then the copywriting style is super playful, inclusive, and community oriented, and casual, trend savvy voice. So I want to kind of talk more about this community oriented part. So they have this thing called Hello Molly's College Hub, which is designed to build a community among college students by offering them curated fashion edits, exclusive updates, and also opportunities to join their partnership programs. And then what they then do is they engage those students through event specific styling tips, tricks for their college events. And then they also help them stay up to date with their college activations and content and perks for members who essentially pledge to the program, fostering both that brand loyalty and peer-to-peer promotion. And then they use email marketing to promote that in-person experience. Here is another example where they flew some of their team members. So you might recognize some of these girls from their social media platform. They flew some of them out to Miami, and then they did essentially the same thing where they're offering these styling tips to other people that might be in the area. And this was the email that they sent out. So they will literally have their own customers come to these pop-up events that are hosted by their team members and take pictures with them, and then they will make an email out of that and then promote the entire event through the email. And that essentially brings their ecom experience to real life through these in-person experiences. Now let's look at a bit of a unconventional brand called Revolve. They do about $1.62 billion per year in revenue. Now, while Revolve does carry other brands, they still have their own unique brand identity and they create an experience that customers still want to be a part of. And I will show you how they're doing that in their emails. And if you thought that Hello Molly or Beautiful Earth's emails were chaotic and maximalist, trust me, wait till you see what Revolve is doing. It is anything but minimal. So when it comes to their brand associations, they are associated with things like premium, trend driven. They are always on top of trends when it comes to their emails. So not only are they releasing collections that are trend driven, but when a trend happens, they will make sure that they create content around that and push that through their emails. They're associated with influencer culture. They partner with celebrities and designers to create and sell limited edition collections. So some of our clients are found on Revolve, and Revolve will essentially go to them and tell them to create a collection for, let's just say, spring that will only be available to shop from Revolve. So they have these curated collections, festival fits and vacation drops, visual excess, product abundance, collab heavy, style forward, and fast moving. When it comes to their brand art direction, they have chosen to go with trendy maximalism and their overall email aesthetic. So just as a quick preview of their email, so you can get a sense of how much detail goes into making one of Revolve's emails, and they have a pretty high frequency as well. I'll talk about that in a bit. But for their email aesthetic, it is very maximalist email layouts, like I mentioned, collage style of presentation, Their collages, however, as opposed to what you saw with Hello Molly, they're a bit more cleaner. Strong use of color theory and aesthetic direction to create a mood, consistent use of campaign names. So, for example, in one email, it would say Golden Girl, Soft Girl Summer to frame collections, non-linear layout flow. Sections appear modular and thematic rather than structured. So, here is the Golden Hour campaign, and it will revolve around that entire theme. So as you're scrolling, even though the blocks as you're scrolling are different because they are following that abstract email design approach, it is still consistent with a theme. And they may have some out of theme blocks here and there. For example, this at the office block. So they're appealing to as many people as possible with their emails. Now, because they're carrying so many products in one single store, their frequency is quite a lot. So they are actually doing 2 to 3 times a day because they're carrying all these brands and they have to make sure that they are marketing as many brand products as possible. So overall, emails are anything but minimal and they are not following any template. So very abstract. And when it comes to their pop-up, they have a 10% off offer and they are collecting the email and they're actually also collecting data like what the person is shopping for. So women or men, if you have a fashion brand or a jewelry brand, you can collect so much data just through your pop-up based on what the person is shopping for, what type of event they're shopping for, what their age is, what their preferences are. And this is a really big opportunity to collect that data, especially if you're offering an incentive. And when it comes to their copywriting style, very confident and direct. They speak with authority, and all of their emails are extremely helpful. And it's almost like a personal stylist is emailing you. So even though they do go heavy on the design, their emails aren't just emails that look pretty. They actually offer a ton of value in terms of how to style something. So if you look at a block like this, it's kind of a styling email, and even something like this, like they're literally just creating outfits that they think their customers might like. And this takes effort and time to create emails like these, right? But they do pay off. And when you offer a ton of value, you'll notice that your customers want to open more and more emails from you. And that's when it's a good idea to essentially ramp up that frequency so you can make more money from the emails by sending more. Let's move on to Opoly now. So you might have seen some of their viral TikToks or IG Reels. They are doing around 113 million pounds per year. One thing about them is that they are really good at integrating their social media viral clips with their emails, and I'll show you how they're essentially doing that. When it comes to their brand associations, they are known for trendy bodycon style clothing. They have this thing called Opoly Girl. It's what their customers like referring to them as because of how good their product is and their marketing. So instead of something like, let's just say, Barbie Girl, which will only last a small period of time during which it's trendy, Opoly Girl stands the test of time. And if you can master social media and have a strong product, eventually your customers will reach a point of association where they will call themselves blank girl, where that blank is for your brand to come in and fill in. So they also have a strong product, like I said, high quality, authentic content created by influencers and their own customers with unboxing and try-ons. They have the Ultimate Party Curl Association and dresses, heels, and a lot of glitter. So if you look at some of their best-selling products and even their videos where they're showing the product, you'll see a lot of glitter. Their overall brand art direction is runway inspired. And here are some of the TikToks I was referring to. So these are their unboxing ones, 28.8 million views here, 12.1 million views here. Very easy to create. Their runway ones are 26.9, 31.4 million. I think the reason why their runway ones are so successful is because they don't look that calculated or paid for. It looks natural. And the way they showcase the product on the model, they actually have a particular model that they like to show in all of most of their reels and their product images. And so because she's so recognizable, it helps in these runway shoots to go viral. And their email aesthetic, clear art direction in each email. They have a very cohesive color palette that is tailored to each collection and email. For example, sometimes you'll see them using sunset tones, other times pastels, other times jewel tones. An example is this one right here where they use this pastel green color throughout the email. I love how they have this abstract approach going on here. The way they blend in a singular product image with the background of the rest of the image is quite cool, and it helps with the flow of the email. Here they have a consistent theme with their collection that they released, and they are really doing justice to their product images with a email that is well designed and shows off product features in a very unique way. The way they isolated certain features is very eye catchy. And a lot of their emails are long in length. However, because they do have a high frequency, they sometimes also tend to send out shorter emails. They have vertically stacked layouts with clear visual segmentation. So, in terms of their frequency, they are doing 7 times a week. When it comes to their pop up, they don't really have a incentive for signing up, and they are really only collecting their email and phone number for SMS. Copywriting style, they have a use of descriptive language, concise with soft urgency, not cheeky, very professional and feminine copywriting. Now, more about their social media and email integration. So, when it comes to their TikTok, it fuels email engagement and vice versa. Email promotes pre orders or limited editions that were first seen on TikTok. TikTok content creates FOMO, and the email, this is key. So, the emails provide instant access to those products that went viral on TikTok. And Opoly's daily send strategy mirrors the speed of TikTok trends. They push what's hot immediately. They don't wait around. They have a email strategy in place. Their email marketing is part of their overall marketing strategy. So they're not just sending out emails when they feel like it. And it's not really like an afterthought. It's literally part of their overall email strategy. And they use GIFs to highlight product details or show movement, making emails feel dynamic and aligned with how Gen Z consumes content online. So, for example, this was a GIF. So they turned one of their videos into a GIF. You can essentially embed that in the email. For a platform like Klaviyo, if it's less than 5 MB, you should be able to put that in your email. The size will be fine. So that is definitely something you would want to look into integrating into your emails, especially if you have a TikTok video or an IG reel that went viral. You can easily convert that into a GIF and then just add that into your emails. Now let's look at the last brand for this video. It is a jewelry brand called Every Jewels. They're doing multi 7 figures a year, and similar to Princess Polly, it's a fast fashion discounted brand, but they do have very strong brand visuals that are worth looking at and studying, and a strong brand identity that leads to more loyal customers. They even have some in-person store locations in malls in the Greater Toronto area. When it comes to their associations, they are known for selling waterproof, high quality jewelry, hypoallergenic, and sensitive skin friendly. They have this family legacy and designer story and engaged community, creator culture, custom and collaborative options. So you'll see some influencers collaborate with the brand to release collections that are unique to that influencer that they help the brand design. They have inclusive and everyday wear, and their target audience is Gen Z. So when it comes to their brand art direction, it is very youthful. Their overall email aesthetic is over the top covers that set them apart from other D2C jewelry brand emails. What I mean by that, these are some of their emails, and their covers are very unique. Something like this is really hard to miss in your inbox. If you're opening an email, this email, it's really hard to beat an email that looks like this. And you essentially want to send emails that your customers will remember. And these guys do a really good job at that. And overall, different cover every single time, different email every single time. They stay away from templates. And again, going after that abstract email design approach where every email is different from the next and each block is different from the next as you are scrolling. So other things that they are doing is having loud and bold discounts. So because this is a discounted brand, you will see them having offers like 90% off. They're actually quite generous with their offers, 90% off, buy 5 get 1 free. And they are also into flashy and energetic color palettes, magazine pop culture style, fast-paced visual flow. They also like using a lot of fast-moving GIFs, deliberate chaos, almost meme-like, which is perfect for Gen Z. They like cut out collage elements, stickers, sketched lines, and scrapbook style images. So another thing that they are doing, as we looked at with Beautiful Earth, is sending out text-only emails, but these guys take it a notch further. Like they send out emails that are super cheeky, like this one. My boss doesn't know I made this discount. They will give the discount. You've been opening our emails, figured you deserve this. Shop before he notices. Love, Mariah from Every Jewels. And these emails You don't want to overdo this, of course, but it will convert if you do it here and there. And if it aligns with your brand identity, then it's definitely worth doing this. Obviously, if you're a luxury brand, something like this is off-putting and you would want to stay away from it. Frequency is 7 times a week, so they are sending out basically every single day. So that was the entire email marketing breakdown of 6 leading brands in the fashion and jewelry industry. If you found this helpful, then click subscribe, or if you have any questions for me, then leave them in the comment section below. And if you are a fashion or jewelry brand founder or owner and need help in generating more sales from your email list, then click the first link in the description to book a call with me to get an email consultation. And I'll see you in the next video.